How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the House of Horror, and today we're going to be looking at 15 phenomenal facts about White Zombie. I wanted to do 15 phenomenal facts a little bit differently this time because, well, the film is public domain, so may as well watch the film along with you guys. So that's what I'm going to do. If you're listening to this over on YouTube, you can watch the film right along with me. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, you're going to have to sync this up with the film, or you can sync it up with my YouTube video of it because we're watching the film. So yeah, I just wanted to try something new with 15 phenomenal facts. I'm going to be trying a lot of new things this run of the show. So yeah, without further ado, because we're going to be watching an entire film, we're just going to get right to it. And yeah, if you guys haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you know when I come out with new videos. And if you give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend, it would be greatly appreciated. And so yeah, today we're going to be looking at some of the most interesting facts about this illustrious film that maybe some of the most hardcore fans don't know. And of course, if I left anything out, let me know down in the comments section below. But for right now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy my White Zombie 15 phenomenal facts and commentary. Alright everybody, so welcome to my commentary slash watch along. Let's call it a watch along. I don't want to call it a commentary because I don't know what I'm talking about really. Of White Zombie, as we see the title screen coming up here. I love the title screen. It's like the Broadway lights coming up with the word zombie. Of course, with Bela Lugosi. Yeah, I really wanted to try something a little bit different with the 15 Phenomenal Facts video this week. I'm always looking to try something new, and actually our first fact is right here. Jack Pierce is under the art and technical. He did all of the makeup in the film. Well, maybe not all of it, but he did a lot of it, particularly with Lugosi and some of the main zombies. If you don't know who Jack Pierce is, the reason why this is a phenomenal fact and why it's important is because Jack Pierce did the Frankenstein makeup. I mean, he was a big makeup guy back in the day. I mean, he's still the makeup that everyone uses today. His style of the Frankenstein monster is still the style that you see. So it's a big deal. He was a big grab for this movie. It's very low budget, independent. I love the chanting that's going on in the background, by the way. So of course there's our director. But yeah, I wanted to do 15 Phenomenal Facts a little bit differently this time, mainly because, I mean, this is a public domain movie, so I mean, may as well watch it with you guys if you haven't seen it before. Because I know a lot of times with like these old movies, they're a little difficult to get through for modern audiences. So you got me to help you get through it, man. So we're gonna watch White Zombie together if you haven't seen it before for the first time. So yeah, I don't know how this is really gonna go, but we're gonna try it out. I actually don't even know if I'm gonna upload this or not. This is a test. You know what? I'm gonna upload this. Even if it's not the best, I'm going to upload this. Just so you guys, I don't know. Just because, you know what? I can embrace my mistakes. So you know what? If this is horrible, that's fine. I'm still gonna upload it. And of course, okay, so what's going on right now? So this is a couple. They're not married yet, but I think they are about to be married. They are fiancés. And they are in Haiti right now, visiting one of their friends who apparently lives in Haiti. And as we see the zombies here. So let's get into some more of our 15 Phenomenal Facts. We already did one, is that Jack Pierce is in it. So for number 2, this is basically, a lot of this is sort of like a Dracula ripoff, basically. Because it follows a lot of the same story beats, even down to this carriage right here coming up. Basically, they both follow someone traveling to a new land. They meet a creepy character. There's basically like a scientist type guy who knows all of the secrets. I love this shot, by the way, of Lugosi's eyes. How they just go and they're in the foreground and they just go until they land on the back of his head and there's Lugosi right there. But yeah, it follows a lot of the same beats as Dracula. So yeah, that's a phenomenal fact for you. This and Dracula have a lot of the same story beats, especially starring the same title character here, Lugosi in both. And there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Love the unibrow. Anthony Davis would be proud, bro. And yeah, this is a creepy dude, man. There's like the iconic zombie that we see in this film all the time, like the chubbier guy. Zombie. So this guy screaming zombie right here, that may be the first time we ever hear zombie on screen. Because for our third phenomenal fact, this is the first zombie movie ever. So, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all of those films, this was first. And it's a little different from all those zombie films. Notice he took her, like, scarf or whatever. That's, like, a plot point later on. Sorry if you're actually trying to watch the movie. But, yeah, I'm just here to talk about it a little bit. So watch it with the subtitles, maybe, so you can see what's going on in the film here, because I'm going to be babbling the entire time. But yeah, this was the first zombie movie. There were some Broadway shows before it. There was, like, a Broadway show called Zombie. But yeah, this was the first film, and so these zombies in here, and these are probably going to be a lot more than 15 phenomenal facts, by the way, so I don't know if I'm going to keep counting them, but you're going to have at least 15. But for our next fact, that these are not the typical zombies that we see in Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead or stuff like that.
We might have been caught.
Caught? By whom? Those men you spoke to?
They are not.
I'm just being quiet so you can hear this.
They are dead bodies.
Dead?
Yes, mister. Zombies. The living dead. Corpses taken from their graves. Or made to work in sugar mills and fields at night.
Yeah, so this driver, he says that they're zombies, they're the living dead, taken from graves, but that's not actually true in this, really, because these zombies are not the living dead zombies that we see in other things. These are like voodoo zombies. They're people under like hypnosis. They're not like mindless zombies that just like do their own bidding. These zombies are all under Lugosi. Like these zombies are under mind control, and that's why they're zombified. It's not like the typical Night of the Living Dead kind of zombie. It's quite different actually. And yeah, that's actually sort of a contradiction because it's like clarified later that they are not living dead zombies. It's a contradiction. They explain it later on. Yeah, I guess for our next fact, so I guess like fact number 4 or whatever we're on, the original story is called Magic Island from 1929. This is what it was based on. It's not like an adaptation or anything, but it was like heavily inspired by a book called The Magic Island. And the author says that he saw real zombies, man. So yeah, there is an original book. Of course, I learned a lot about this in the White Zombie Anatomy of a Horror Film book, which I did on the channel yesterday, which you guys can check out if you haven't seen that already. If somehow you stumbled across this commentary and didn't watch my book review from yesterday, you got to go ahead and do that. It's a very, very text-heavy book, and maybe I'll talk a little bit more about the book later on, and some of the things that the book touches. But yeah, it's living people in a death-like trance. There's no flesh-eating in this film, so that's like our next fact. They're living dead in a trance, no flesh-eating, so that goes along with how it's a contradiction. Yeah, and it was based off of The Magic Island from 1929, which was a book. So right now the couple are getting to the house.
I met him on the ship coming from New York.
And they're just talking to the guy here. And yeah, I guess so yeah, the main reason I wanted to do this, I mean, the film is public domain, and a lot of these older films, I know for like modern audiences, they're hard to get through. So I figured if you haven't seen it, come and watch it with me, I guess. I'm here for you. I am here to help you get through this film.
I'll tell Mr. Beaumont.
Butler, he's going to tell Mr. Beaumont that they're here. And Mr. Beaumont is sort of like the, I don't want to say, I don't know. You'll see as the film progresses who Beaumont is, really.
I've only met Mr. Beaumont once or twice, but he never struck me like a man that would take the trouble to play a fairy godfather to a young couple like you.
Where's he coming? He should be coming.
Unless...
Unless what, sir?
Sorry, I just don't want you guys to miss these crucial plot points. And then, of course, as soon as I stop talking so you can hear, there's no dialogue in the film. So,
I suppose you'll think I'm a meddling old fool, but... You know, I'd feel a good deal better if you'd clear out of this place after you're married and have nothing more to do with Mr. Beaumont.
The young people have arrived, sir, and Dr. Brunner. They're waiting in the reception hall.
Show them to their room.
So Dr.
My
Bruner,
mouth.
as you see, he has some knowledge there. So Dr. Bruner may be like another doctor that we see in another film.
Especially as Dr. Bruner is a trifle skeptical as to your...
Yeah, I think Bruner knows what's going on here, guys. The couple doesn't, but
other person.
yeah. So I guess we'll just talk a little bit more about the film here. So Lugosi's character in this film
24 hours late.
is named Murder Legendre.
Keep away from...
But the thing that makes this a phenomenal fact for our list is that Murder Legendre is not said anywhere in this film. Later on, like towards the end, they do mention that he's called Murder. But that could just be like an analogy. Like they're just like, oh, like he brings death. His name, they call him Murder or whatever. But Murder is the actual character name. But Legendre, that's never said anywhere in the film, especially not together, not Murder Legendre. As I said, like Murder's only mentioned that one time. The only time that it is really said is in this 1952 trailer about the film. And yeah, so I don't know if they came up with that after the fact and they called him that in that trailer, or if he was always called that. But he's certainly not called that in the film. They could have just made that up for the trailer. But regardless, speaking of Lugosi, this was one of Lugosi's favorite films that he was in, so there's our next fact for you. Lugosi loved this film. One of his personal favorites. If you've seen the movie Ed Wood, you know that in the film Ed Wood, Lugosi is watching it in that film, and he says that it's one of his favorites. He's doing like the hand thing. And we see Lugosi do that hand thing a lot, like in Bride of the Monster and stuff like that. So Lugosi in real life actually really enjoyed this film, which is strange because it's one of like, I mean, it's an independent film, man. And I think it's really good. A lot of people think it's really good, but a lot of people haven't seen it. But it's cool to know that it was one of Lugosi's favorite roles that he had in one of his favorite films. So, obviously, if you're a fan of metal music, you know Rob Zombie. And his band, White Zombie, here's another fact, was named after this film. So White Zombie, the band, is named after White Zombie, the film. Again, Rob Zombie, as you know, big horror fan. He has tons of horror references and all that kind of stuff in all of his music. So, yeah, it's obvious that he would love this film as well. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a cool name for a band. I mean, even if you haven't heard of the film, I mean, you're like, oh, White Zombie, like that sounds like a cool band name and everything. So yeah, as I mentioned, this is an independent film, but if you're watching it along with me, I mean, it's hard to really tell that it's an independent film. Like, it's hard to distinguish that this is any different than any of the other Universal monster movies or whatever. I mean, it looks kind of the same, the production value is about the same, and the sets actually are the same, because our next fact is that they were actually able to use a lot of these sets from the old Universal films for pretty cheap. A lot of times they just let them use them. So this is one of the sugar mills here where, as you can see, the zombies are doing some work. And zombies are like a common thing. I guess, I don't know how to say it, but like, zombies are like a common thing in like the voodoo culture, I guess, and it talks a lot about this in the Anatomy of a Horror Film book. But yeah, so these are the zombies in the sugar mill just doing their zombie business, you know, doing all the hard manual labor. And yeah, as I said, that they reuse a lot of the Universal sets in this, and that's why the production values look so good, man, because like, think of an indie film now. Like, now they have a lot more money than they used to in the past, because I mean, like, you could do an indie film for a couple $1 million, but like back then, like, indie films, like, you didn't have anything really. So it's good that they were able to use all of these sets and stuff for the film. Oh, the guy falls into the mill. Some gruesome stuff, man. Getting ground up. That's just so creepy watching them all walk around. I'm not as familiar with this film as many other people. I've only seen this a handful of times. But I enjoy the film quite a bit. It's definitely not in the upper echelon of horror films from around this time period. It's still very, very good, but I mean, it's not your Draculas, it's not your Frankenstein films or anything like that, but this is like right up there, man. It's just not in that A tier. I'd say this is in like the B tier. And then of course you get into like some worse ones from like around that time period. But yeah, I mean, this one's, I think it's like a phenomenal film. Guy's pretty creeped out by the mill here. That's a nice shot, little, and another thing, like, this film's, like, really, like, artsy at parts. We'll get to it when we get to it, but there's, like, a notorious, like, one-take scene that's really, really interesting in this. So there's that, like, main zombie I was telling you guys about. You see him all the time in, like, the posters for this film. Is he gonna shake the hand? Ooh, he's bummed. There he is, my man. I also think Lugosi looks really creepy in this, like his facial hair and his unibrow, as we already mentioned, but I'm digging the goatee.
I'm sorry to kept you waiting, monsieur.
See, and this is also similar to Dracula, where like they have like a meeting between the Traveler and the fucking Dracula and all that, and he explains some things, but...
Faithfully. They are not worried about long hours. You could make good use of men like mine on your plantation, though. That's not what I want.
Ooh, Lugosi's confused, man.
Then perhaps you should talk about the young lady who came to your house this evening. You seen her? When? The roast tonight.
Sorry I'm being quiet, I'm just letting you get to the, listen to some of these plot points, and there's there's the scarf.
For the young man. They're to be married tonight. You've waited too long to do anything. What do you want me to do? If she were to disappear for a month, what do you hope to gain by her disappearance?
See, and that's another thing that's a similarity to, like, Dracula, is that Lugosi's trying to get, the girl turned into a zombie, but in Dracula he's, like, trying to get Mina and Lucy successfully. He does it to Lucy, turn them into a vampire. That's actually a plot hole in the original Dracula. Lucy is never found or mentioned again after she sort of like disappears, so maybe someday I'll do a Dracula 15 phenomenal facts. That'd be interesting. It's not public domain though, so I wouldn't be able to do like a watch along for it in this fashion. I mean, you could always just sync the audio up with the film, but I wouldn't be able to post it on YouTube or anything. I'd just be my vocals for it. It wouldn't be the film, so I don't know. We'll see. If that's something you guys want to see. And mainly, like, these things like this, it might, if I ever decide to make a Patreon someday, these things will probably live on Patreon. Because I don't know how much of an audience there's going to be for this. And I'm sure there's a ton of other commentaries of White Zombie online that you could watch that are much more prestigious than mine. But hey, if you're watching this, I mean, I hope you like what I'm doing here. So there he is. There's the iconic one. My boy. But yeah. So, yeah, as I said, I don't really want to call this a commentary. I'd rather call it like a watch-along. Because I'm just watching this along with you guys. I mean, I don't have any, like, grand things to say about it other than what I would have put into my video about it. A regular standard 15 phenomenal facts. But yeah, like, I want to get, like, more experimental this season. I want to try different formats to my videos. So I'm just going to try a 15 phenomenal fact video and more like this. I love this line.
Pink.
Yeah.
A silver one. In a glass of wine. Or perhaps a flower.
Lugosi's just so good, man.
Take it. The time is very brief. You must do your share if I'm to help you.
Keep it.
And he's also much more charismatic in this film. I mean, he still definitely has some, like, Dracula-isms to him. But, I don't know, it kind of sucks the way his career kind of turned out, how he was always typecast into stuff. Because he really was, like, a talented actor and could do a lot of versatile things. So, yeah, although this character is very, very similar to a Dracula-type role, which is probably why he got the part, He was capable of doing a lot. If you've seen like Islands of the Lost Souls and a bunch of different things, the later Frankenstein films where he plays Igor, obviously he's phenomenal in those. And then same in the Edgar Allan Poe films that Universal was making around this time. Everything he's in, I mean, he gives it his all, man. Like even if the movie's balls terrible, there is no other way. Oh man, Lugosi's just so good, man. And yeah, I guess that's another fact, but he was actually quite a nice grab because he was a big star at the time. I mean, nowadays it's pretty easy to see, like, famous actors in independent films because they're trying to, like, be artsy and stuff like that, and maybe they're funding the films themselves and stuff, but, like, I don't know, it was really a good grab to get Lugosi for this film because, as I mentioned, it was very, very low budget. Not sure how much it was produced for. I mean, that's a quick search to see. About $50,000. So that's nothing.
I love you, Madeline, more than anything else in this whole world. Heaven or hell lies.
Oh, a wedding.
You can raise me up.
How romantic.
Or you can blast my word into nothingness. There's time even yet, dear. I can make you the angel of every woman.
So yeah, as I mentioned, this was the first zombie film, and ironically enough, something people don't really know about it is that there is actually a sequel to White Zombie. And a lot of people don't really know about it. It was called Revolt of the Zombie. It got sued over the term zombie, and for some reason it was like treated like a trademark name. It was like an unofficial sequel or something. I don't really know the whole story behind it. But even though zombie was already in the dictionary, the word zombie was like a trademarked name at the time or something. So they actually got sued for Revolt of the Zombie, and I think they actually changed the name of it, which really makes it even like more obscure and less people even know that it was a sequel to this. Look how solemn this wedding is, dude. Like, I don't know, when I got married, it was so happy. This is just, like, depressing. Especially, like, they're in Haiti. They're in a tropical... They're on, like, a mystic island, man. Like, they're living their best life right now, man. And I got married in fucking Ohio, and they're, like, acting like it's the worst day ever. Like, I'd be stoked to get on a, like, destination wedding. Like, come on, man.
This man, this woman, in holy matrimony. Faith.
So romantic. I can't even deal with how much is going on. Now we got some lurking going on out in the garden area. We see Lugosi. Also, there's a hawk in this. I think the hawk's about to come up. I think it's a hawk. It's some sort of bird. It might be like a vulture or something. I'm not a bird scientist or anything. It's about to be loud and annoying as fuck. I also love the music here, by the way. See, now he's using the scarf here. Oh, he's doing some voodoo tricks. There he is. There's our, there's the giant claw man. There he is. Yeah, I don't know what kind of bird that is. It's some sort of hawk or vulture or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's not the last time we're gonna see him. He's gonna come up a lot. I guess we can talk about like voodoo like a little bit. Like something that like people don't understand is that voodoo is like actually a very, very positive practice. In films it's seen in like a negative light, and in the media it's seen in like a negative light a lot of times. But voodoo, similar to witchcraft in a lot of ways, is actually a very like positive practice. And it goes into that in the book quite a bit. It goes into the history of voodoo. I guess I can crack this book open a little bit and tell you guys a little bit more about it. So yeah, this book, White Zombie, Anatomy of a Horror Film. As I mentioned in my review, it's sort of a definitive look at White Zombie. It's a very exhaustive book. It goes into it in great detail, which is why the book is like sort of like a niche thing. Like, I can't see too many people reading this book unless you're really interested in White Zombie. And if you're watching this and you've made it this far into the video, you must really like White Zombie too. unless you're watching it for the first time with me. But if you watched it before and you're still watching it with me, you must really like White Zombie too. So this might be a book that you would be interested in checking out, if you so please. And so yeah, it goes into the history of how White Zombie came to be and the history of voodoo. And the book I mentioned that it was based on, the Magic Island or whatever. It goes into that book and the plot of that book and how it was influential. Lugosi's talking to her, man, and what do you see?
Madeline, what's wrong? Madeline, my dear, please.
There he is, my guy. Light the candle. Would you light my candle? Sorry, I can't even sing right now. So yeah, it talks about like the production of White Zombie in the book here. It talks about like continuing the tradition of zombies in the world today. It talks about like the cultural impact that the film had, and it has like a whole section of like talking about White Zombie under like modern scrutinies. So like going into like some of the controversies with it today. Obviously like the term White Zombie is called White Zombie because it's a white person who's a zombie. So it's not exactly as PC today as it should be. So there's like another fact for you. It's actually like kind of like controversial that it's unusual that the zombie is white in this. There he is, Lugosi. Just anything where he's using his eyes is just like incredible, man. And then the funeral, man. So basically they think that she's dead, but she's actually in like a death-like trance from Lugosi. So that's why the carriage rider, the driver, he thinks that it's the living dead, but really they're put into a death-like trance by Lugosi, and then he comes and gets them later. Ooh, we're only about like a third of the way through the film here. Alright, so we see the guy in the fucking tavern or whatever. He's getting drunk. He's like, God damn it. And yeah, so I didn't even know how many facts I've talked about. It might be around 15 or so. I guess for another fact that the film has a lot of like fairy tale qualities into it. Like the time period's like real ambiguous. Which I don't know if my Caligari video is out, but we're gonna talk about that a little more when I'm talking about Caligari. My guy. Again, I'm trying to find a balance of talking and not talking. I think I've been talking a little too much, actually. If you guys are actually trying to watch the film.
Neil. Neil.
Come to me, Neil.
Neil.
It's hallucinating, man. I'm just really vibing to the song right now, everyone. I think in this scene, there's one scene, I don't know if it's this one, but we see like a tombstone wobble. If it's in this scene, we'll try to catch it. But could have very well already happened in the film and I wasn't paying attention that closely. There they are. Creepy zombies, man.
Zombies? Yes. They are my servants. Did you think we could do it alone? In their lifetime, they were my enemies. Lego, the witch doctor. Once my master. Secrets I tortured out of him. Vangelda, the swine, swollen with riches. He fought against my spells until the last.
So Lugosi has basically conquered all of his enemies on this island, man, and now they all do his bidding instead of the other way around. He even said one of them was his master at one point. So they're gonna go get the grave. They're gonna steal it. So
Captain of Gendarmerie.
there he is.
This is Chauvin, the High Executioner.
So I love how they go and like introduce all of them and like say like their names and stuff, and then as I mentioned, they don't say his name in this. They don't say I am Murder Legendre or anything. It's just later on when he mentions his name is Murder, just the one time.
They will tear me to pieces. And that, my friend, shall never be.
If you've never seen many Lugosi films before, and here's the hand thing I was talking about, and this is imitated countless times. You've probably seen this hand thing on like the posters and stuff. But yeah, I said he did that in like Bride of the Monster, the Ed Wood movie. And yeah, that's just a very iconic thing from this film. They're gonna go into the tomb. But yeah, if you haven't seen very many Lugosi films, this is actually a good one to start out with. Of course, there's Dracula. I'm hoping you've seen Dracula. If you haven't seen Dracula before, go see Dracula. There's the Poe films from Universal. There's tons of he's good in everything he's in. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that like you should skip, like the Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn gorilla and like all those kind of movies. But like, if you're interested in Lugosi movies, like especially like some of his like stuff during his heyday, like this period, they're all good, man. It's just when you get like later on and like he's doing like the more like gimmicky stuff where like it sucks real bad. But no fault on him. It's just he was in horrible things. There is a zombified girl. He's gonna catch him. What are they gonna do? He's gonna catch him. What are they gonna do? Better be quick. Of course, these are the slowest zombies of all time. This is like not the fast moving zombies. These are the very slow moving zombies. I'm sure this was a huge influence on Night of the Living Dead as well, because I mean Night of the Living Dead was the first zombie movie where we see zombies the way that we see them today. Before that, it was all zombies like this, like the voodoo type stuff. So Night of the Living Dead was very revolutionary. Well, was that the wobble? I couldn't tell. Anytime there's a graveyard scene, just look for the wobble, man. I'm sure there's many wobbles, actually. But there's one that's, like, notorious. I don't think it's as bad as, like, in Ed Wood movies where, like, the tombstones are literally falling over. But there's definitely some wobble action going on. I guess another phenomenal fact about it is that the critics hated it at the time. He's like, where the hell did she go, bro? Alright, so here's the one-take scene. This scene has been, like, read and analyzed and overanalyzed, like, 100 times. But you can look into this scene however you want. But for me, it's just really cool, like, camera movement. And it's the first time we really see it. So we notice at the beginning of the scene, it sort of like starts behind the guy's back, and then it pulls out. And now we're going to see this whole scene play out in one continuous take. I don't know how many takes this took. It probably took a long time to get this right. Or maybe not. I mean, maybe the actors were pros. I mean, I'm sure since this was an independent film, they didn't have much film to, like, burn. Like, they didn't want to waste a bunch, so I'm sure there were a lot of rehearsals before they actually went and shot this. Like, even with camera rehearsals to get, like, the camera movements down and everything. Because who knows, they may have only had, like, 1 or 2 tries to get this right. But yeah, this entire scene is done in one take.
And her lips were cold.
Let me explain.
And so we're getting a little movement here.
Wherever there is a superstition, you will find there is also a practice. Now, do you remember what your driver told you the night he took you to Beaumont's house?
Oh, about those horrible creatures we saw.
Yeah.
He said they were corpses, taken from their grave.
That's what now wait. Now, that's the superstition. Now for the practice.
See, here's where he's explaining.
Steal the dead corpses from the grave as opposed to put them there in the first place.
Do you mean that Madeline was murdered so that somebody could steal her dead body?
Ah, nonsense. No. Not her body, yes, but not her dead body.
So there's a little bit of a flub there.
Well,
I don't know if that was an
surely
acting
alive.
flub or again, I mean, they might not have done many takes of this, so that might have just been like a screw up.
Excuse me, please. Have you got a match?
That's another thing. This guy's always asking for a match. We'll see that a little later. He's a heavy smoker. Heavy smoker. He loves his pipes.
You don't believe that, do you?
I'll let you watch the scene.
There's been lots of people that's been pronounced dead that came alive again and lived for years. Now, if nature can play pranks like that, why isn't it possible to play pranks with nature?
Oh, I don't know.
Your driver believed he saw dead men walking. He didn't. What he saw was men alive and everything but this and this.
Oh, the whole thing has me confused. I just can't understand it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I've been trying for years to get to the bottom of this thing. To separate what you call fact from fiction. The law of Haiti acknowledges the possibility of being buried alive. Here it is in the penal code. I'll read it for you. It's in French. Do you speak French?
No.
Excuse me, please. Have you got a match? Right here. Here's one. No,
There he goes with the match
I'll
again.
translate it for you. If you should say this. Article 749. The use of drugs or other practices which produce lethargic coma or lifeless sleep shall be considered attempted murder. Yes. Attempted. Yes, I see. Yeah. All right. If the person has been buried alive, the act should be considered murder, no matter what result follows.
Beaumont. Say, you said that you couldn't understand why he was so interested in that. Do you think he did this?
No, I think it's native work. Native work, exactly. Of course, if you want to, we can go to Beaumont's house first. If I can get my hands on the devil that's responsible for this, make him such an example.
But yeah,
of every
as I was saying, like, the critics didn't really like this. They thought the acting was shitty. And yeah, like, as you can see, like, here, it's a little, like, hokey at parts. But, I mean, all acting at that time was hokey, so I don't know what the hell they were talking about,
You know
man.
these are. The native authorities are afraid to mess. I'm not.
And see, as you've noticed, I mean, this scene's been going on for a real long time, so it's kind of like a stage play where they're doing it all in one take. And as we see the camera's moving again,
I'm a preacher.
and it's about to end like right where it left off. So he goes back in his seat and the camera moves back behind his back, and that's our transition. So yeah, people have read into that scene a lot. People, in fact, in this book, he reads into a lot of stuff in this book. Like, he's analyzing the shots, he's analyzing scenes, he's analyzing like all kinds of stuff. And I mean, a lot of it you can take it or leave it or whatever, but that's just your own interpretations of it. And yeah, another place that this was shot, besides like the Universal like backlot, there's a scene at Bronson Cave as well. It was shot there. And of course, Bronson Cave has been in tons of films. And look at it, like, that's straight out of Universal, man. That is a Universal set. Again, some cool camera movements. I mean, camera movements were pretty, like, unique at the time. If you watch a lot of these old films, it's a lot of static stuff. So, like, this actually has, like, some pretty impressive cinematography for the time. But yeah, this was filmed in only, like, 11 days, which is crazy. Because, I mean, like, when you shoot movies, it takes months. I don't know what the average length of shooting a movie back then was, but it certainly wasn't 11 days. I mean, at least get a couple weeks out of it. That's like a week and a couple days, man. She's in her trance.
Madeline.
Sorry, at times I'm just getting sucked in the movie, as you should be as well. Just give yourself to the film, just enjoy it for a second. I'm just vibing to the music. He's gonna put on the necklace here.
Foolish things. They can't bring back the light to those eyes.
So basically this Beaumont dude was like a huge fucking asshole, and he was trying to steal Neil's girl. Like, this is his girl, man. And Beaumont basically fucking sells her out and is like, yeah, turn her into a zombie, that's fine, or whatever. So that's another thing that's like unique with this, and like another thing, like a lot of people think that like
I can't bear those.
Dracula's trying to get the girl or whatever in Dracula, even though in the Lugosi one that's not the case. But in others, Dracula's trying to get the girl. In this one, there's a guy who is soliciting like the Dracula type character to make like a zombie type version of her or whatever.
Back to the grave. monsieur? No. You must put the light back into her eyes and bring laughter to her lips. She must be gay and happy again.
You paint a charming picture, monsieur.
So now Charles is like regretting his decision of making her be a zombie, because he was like, oh shit, and look at this framing right here, like that's a good shot. But he's regretting his decision, man. He was like, man, I don't want her like this. Like, I want her as a normal person. I don't want her as like a zombie. Like, she has no personality. She's not doing anything. She's just walking around in a trance, man. And Murder refuses.
Aren't you trifling afraid, monsieur?
How do you suppose those eyes will regard you when the brain is able to understand?
So Murder's basically like, nah, you're fucked. Like, she's gonna stay a zombie, so... And little does Beaumont know this, but Beaumont is under his influence as well. So Beaumont might be starting to feel a little funny here too, at some point.
Better to see hatred in them than that dreadful emptiness.
Perhaps you're right.
It would be a pity to destroy such a lovely love.
Like many films at the time, there's also a colorized version of this. I haven't seen it. I can't imagine it looks that great. On the cover of the White Zombie Anatomy of a Horror Film book, it's actually a colorized image. So I would imagine that that is from the colorized version of the film. Or at least like an artist's rendering of it. I don't know. But there is a color version, so there's another fact for you. I'm sure I've given you more than 15, but I'll give you at least 15. So I don't know. Again, you're going to hear this whether or not it's good or not. And if it's the worst thing on the planet, I will give you a proper 15 Phenomenal Facts video of White Zombie at a later date. Again, this is just like an experimental thing I want to try to do. As you've seen, or maybe you will see with other episodes of 15 Phenomenal Facts, because I don't know when this is really scheduled to go up. But I'm going to be doing some more experimental things with 15 Phenomenal Facts. You will be getting a couple episodes that are normal, but you'll be getting some that are where I'm going to try something a little new here.
Flowers. Or perhaps a glass of wine?
So this may be the potion here that Yeah.
You devil! What are you trying to do to me?
I have other plans for Mademoiselle. And I'm afraid you might not agree. I have taken a fancy to you. But yes,
Silver! Silver!
Oh my god. Oh, the acting in this is hilarious at times. Yeah, Murder's like, nah, fuck that. That's not gonna happen. Lugosi's eyes are just like really hypnotic. I mean, if the man does one thing well, he's good at staring. See, look, he's got him under his control. The zombies are coming in and shit. Oh man. I just really love that one zombie. There he is. He's gonna come up from behind. And yeah, this is like where they got the image from the book. It's like this part. So here's another phenomenal fact that's coming up here soon. There's a very, very notorious flub. And there's only one way, that's the only way you can classify it as a flub or a mistake, because it's not like in that scene where the one take where the actor just sort of screws up his line or whatever. This is a very, very noticeable mistake, because, as you know, he's supposed to be in a petrified zombie-type state here as he's being carried. So as a zombie, oh, there it was right there. Did you see it? Did you see it? He plugged his nose as he went into the water. Now, if you're truly in a petrified zombie-type state, you're not gonna be able to plug your nose when you go in the water, bro. It's supposed to be frozen, man. It's supposed to be frozen. I had 17 facts written down, and I think I went through all of them. And I've probably given more than just those 17. So you've gotten at least 15 phenomenal facts in this. Again, this is an experimental episode. In the future, when I do more, when I return like that bird, when I return with doing more 15 phenomenal facts videos like this, if I decide to do this even more, I'll have more of an outline. Because again, this is sort of just like a test, but I'll upload it anyway because I don't care. He's funny. So we're getting close to the climax of the film here, man. If I do this with more films, they'd have to be public domain if I'm putting them on YouTube, as I mentioned. But any films you guys want to see me do a watch along with, let me know down in the comments. I mean, this one isn't really the greatest one to start off with. Oh, and this is where he's like referred to as murder, so I'll be quiet so you can pay attention to this scene.
Here is one for the up. Young man, he's sick with fever.
Yes. Hey, wait a minute. We can't afford to have you sick. Neil, why don't you go over there? We got a hard day before us tomorrow. Now then, yeah, come on. He's gone. We can talk.
It is a dangerous thing you ask me to do.
Oh, but now listen here. We're old friends, you and me, and I want to go on.
Turn back before it is too late.
Oh, no. I've come too far to turn back now.
I'm too old to go all the way with you.
Well, listen. Can't you get somebody to go with us?
My people are afraid of the mountain
Why?
because it is called the land of the living dead.
Have you ever been there?
So we've gotten like 3 explanations about what these zombies are, and they're all like slightly different. But this guy knows what he's talking about too. So does the doctor, but the coach driver doesn't. See, it's a man called Murder. So, I mean, that doesn't mean that's his birth given name or anything. But it could just be like, oh, he brings about murder. And then we see our titular hero sneaking up to the castle here. One of our heroes or something. I can't tell. I'm watching this on a very grainy version, and I haven't seen this film too often. But wake up, drink. They're like, Jesus, what the hell's going on? It's that bird again! Everyone's annoyed by this bird. I don't know why that was included in the film. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Fucking bird screaming bloody murder. It's crazy.
Madeline.
So right now, Neil and the doctor, they gotta go. They gotta go save the day, brother. They gotta save Madeline.
Please. You'll feel stronger in the morning. You rest. Let me go up and see what I can do.
He's like, fine, I'll go save your girl for you since you're laying out on the beach here. You don't want to do nothing. And that's got to be like a matte painting or something. I'm sure it's reused as well. But it looks good.
Why did she go restless tonight? Perhaps she remembers something. We never remember anything.
Even if you haven't watched all of the film right now, you can still say on your letterbox that you watched White Zombie, even though you really listened to my voice for the majority of the film. But that's fine. As I was saying, with other films, and there's the little wipe transition there, like halfway, and there's the rest. So really innovative, like, filmmaking techniques here. But yeah, as I was saying, like, if there's any other films you want to see me do a commentary on, because really this isn't the greatest one to start out with, but, like, if I was doing a commentary on, like, Dracula or Halloween or something like that, like, I'd have a lot more to talk about, like, the entire time. With this one, it's public domain, so I'm just like, fuck it, whatever, I'll do it. And there's probably some more public domain movies out there that I could do. I could have done Night of the Living Dead. That might be an interesting one to do. Since that's public domain as well, and I could upload the video files for it. Go save your girl! It's like, Jesus, like, did he forget what she looks like or something? Like, you need to be reminded to go save her. I don't know why, I really find a lot of these older films just funny.
No, I can't. You must. It's your turn. Let's get on the way. He might hear you. No, I can't stand it. I'm going to run away.
It's so ridiculous, it's so funny.
You like her.
So now he's approaching the house. We're finally getting to the climax of the film. I'm pretty sure they were just trying to fill up the hour. Because this film was like, what, like an hour and 7 minutes or something like that. So they're probably just trying to fluff out the time whenever they can. Because It's not really building much suspense here. Another thing to mention is that, like, the use of music in this was also, like, revolutionary for the time, because if you've seen Dracula, the 1931 version, besides, like, the opening credits, there is no music in the film. So, like, this was, like, at the birth of sound movies in general, so, like, they didn't really think to add music to a lot of it. But yeah, they started adding music and stuff pretty early on, because, I mean, this was just, like, shortly after Dracula. So Dracula was in 31, this was in 32. But they probably shot Dracula in 1930, I would imagine, since it was, like, released around, Valentine's Day. I think it might have been released on Valentine's Day, actually. So I would imagine they had it shot before, the new year. So they probably shot it in 1930.
It is unfortunate you are no longer able to speak. I should be interested to
Is it unfortunate?
describe your symptoms.
Well, Lugosi's just, like, such a good character. And so, yeah, this was actually shot in 32, the year it came out.
You see,
So this was a couple years after Dracula.
the first
And Lugosi had been in a few films, like, in between that. Like Murders in the Rue Morgue, I think, came out in between that. And some other stuff. But yeah, as I mentioned, like, Lugosi was, like, a big name at the time, especially in horror. So he was actually a pretty good grab to get in there.
You refused to shake hands. Once. I remember.
See, Lugosi never forgets, man.
We understand each other better now.
Remember that he was rude at the beginning, so now Lugosi's getting his revenge in many, many different ways. So Neil's getting into the house here. Lugosi is gonna sense it. Lugosi's gonna know something's wrong. Pretty much. So... Again, they were probably just trying to fill out a lot of the time. They're like, alright, dude, just go wander around this castle for a little bit. We'll film it, put it to music. We'll make it slightly above an hour of the film. Because, I mean, what, the opening credits are a couple minutes. So they're like, as long as we are above 60, we're good. And it doesn't matter if it's a couple extra. I love the White Zombie theme, by the way. You can hear it playing now. But I really dig it. I swear, fucking Neil's just, like, drunk off his ass. So Lugosi's basically like, what the hell's going on with this guy? It's funny watching Lugosi run, because you always see him as, like, a slow-moving, like, type of guy, like... very cool and cunning, and then whenever he loses his cool, this smile is incredible. I love this part too. Ooh, and there's the hands. Crunch. Again, another close-up with the eyes. The eyes are really overdone in this. They're not as prevalent in the 1931 film. Another thing to mention is, like, that eye shot at the very beginning with, like, the eyes and the coach and how the eyes are, like, in the background. It's kind of like the scene in Bram Stoker's Dracula with, like, the eyes over the mountaintops as Jonathan Harker's going in the cabin. So what's happening right here is Lugosi basically, like, silently told her to go kill Neil. So she arises from her slumber there, and she's gonna go... get Neil, I guess. He's gonna attempt to murder Neil. Again, I don't know why Lugosi just doesn't try to do it himself. So she's about to go get a knife. Or maybe she already has the knife, I can't recall. But basically she's going to try to kill Neil right now. And again, they're really trying to fill time because as you've noticed, the past like 20 minutes of this movie is just silent and people walking around to music. And there's that shot again that I love. Again, the filming of Dracula, like the cinematography and stuff, is absolute like balls. It's basically like static shots. I mean, as Mark DeWitt says, it's like Lugosi forgot he was making a movie, basically, and he's just like filming a stage play. But here, there's a lot of like really cool camera work, as I've mentioned again, and I love those like frame within a frame shots. They're really fun. Alright, so here's where she is grabbing the knife here to kill Neil. He's just passed the fuck out. I don't know. His character is just so funny to me. I guess, like, looking at this now, the acting a lot of the times is pretty weak and funny. Alright, and I'll be quiet here for a second to really get the suspense going. Will Neil make it? Or not? This fucking guy. What's going on? He's like, kill the motherfucker, what are you doing? She's like, okay, master, that's fine. There he is. Our knight in shining armor. Bruner, come on, bro. Like, this part doesn't really make much sense. Like, you think he would have went and tried to do something else. I mean, he literally just, grabs her arm and her spell is lessened and she's like, whatever, I'll just run away. Like, you think he would have, like, came out and done something. She's running the fuck away. So funny. So now we're getting to the pivotal climax out by the rocks, by the balcony. And what's she gonna do? Is she gonna kill herself? What is she doing? Is he gonna break the spell?
I found you. You're alive. Alive. What's the matter? It's I, Neil.
Again, just walking cool and casual as all hell. Walking in the background. Doesn't come up in a threatening manner like running, like to try to tackle him. He's more psychological. He'll just creep up from behind and everything. Like, if I was Lugosi, I'd just go and fucking, like, punch the guy or something. Like, he's like, whatever, I'll just have my servants do it. So, here they all come down the steps. And from the foreground, he's about to be surrounded by the zombies. All around him.
You, my friend, they are the angels of death.
Oh, he's got a gun! Yeah, because guns have effect on zombies. Uh-oh. And this entire time, you're just like, where's Bruner? There he is. See, that's what Lugosi should have done to these guys all along. Yeah, Bruner's using brute force. He's not fucking around. And then the zombies, with their hero not telling them what to do, they just mindlessly walk to their death. So basically, Murder doesn't have mental control over them, and they just topple off the cliff mindlessly. But if we notice, Madeline's still in her trance, which is a little bit of a plot hole, but I guess it helps to move the story forward. Oh. There she goes. Or is she still in a trance? And Lugosi wakes up from his little injury there. And now he's scrambling. He doesn't know what to do.
Don't you know me, dear?
But now she's back in her trance because he's wide awake.
There. For a moment she recognized you.
Lugosi tries to fucking just casually walk away again. He's not running. You'd think he would run. Uses a fucking smoke bomb. Like, what? Are you Darkwing Duck? What was that shadow in the background? Did you guys see that? Who's that shadow walking by him? Jesus Christ. Oh, then there he is. Saving the day. Oh, that's so funny. But he falls himself. So I guess he wasn't such a bad guy after all. Because he saved the day. And now the happy couple gets to be together. And there's only a few seconds left in this, so I'm just going to sign off real fast. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys want to see from me in the future if you're still watching this. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and...
Excuse me, please. Have you got a match?
Take care, stay spooky, everyone. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'm coming out tomorrow, so... That's it. The end.